going on? It's DeAndre Bembry with the Atlanta Hawks, and you're listening to the 3-Point Conversion.
Now, in 91, after the Rodney King beating, you asked Magic and Mike to boycott Game 1 of the finals. What do you think? What kind of impact you think that would have had, and what was it your thinking behind that?
Well, one of the things that a lot of people didn't realize is that when I was saying it, it had been a precedent set in 1963 in an All-Star game with Elgin Baylor and Jerry West, who had said that they would boycott if the players weren't given a certain measure of standard. So that was, the beginning of our players' union. So that being the case, I looked at 21 of the 24 players in the 1991 championship for brothers. And if we wanted to have some type of measure of impact on, black executives, black upper management, and the like, we had an opportunity right there for a work stoppage to get those things done. Because, in fact, the only time work stoppage happens, it can impact the owners is at All-Star Weekend and during the playoffs. And they understand as ownership that when they lock us out, they always lock us out in preseason and early in the regular season, knowing that they can recoup their finances at All-Star Weekend and during the finals. So that was the reasoning behind it. And, once again, when you're at that superstar status, when somebody like a Craig Hodges approaches you, it's almost as though they just kind of blew it off. It wasn't even, to me, they didn't even take what I was saying seriously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just wonder what would have happened. Like, man, that would be big.
That's the thing is that, if you look at it, this is how it works. 19 minutes on the clock, teams come out of the locker room. If at 19 minutes, neither one of us would have came out of the locker room, they would have been like, well, they're playing mental games with one another. 15 minutes on the clock, they would have been like, what's going on? 10 minutes on the clock, I guarantee you, the commissioner would have been in the locker room saying, what the hell is going on? And at that point, you have a measure of power because you have a billion people watching. You have, 20,000, 30,000 people in the stands. And so it's one of those things where they can't allow it not to happen. So what are the measures you need us to take as ownership so that you can go out there and play for us? And those are the opportunities I feel that sometimes we miss because whether we're not courageous enough or whether we're not studied enough, we haven't made those moves. So, like, to me, in sitting watching I Can't Breathe movement, when I saw the players put on the uniform, put on this T-shirts over their uniforms, I get that. But when it was time for jump ball, you took it off, and now you're back in the uniforms of the people who caused the mayhem in the first place.
Man.
So for me, at that point in time, when you had probably 10 of 10 players who were getting ready to start that game, what would happen if they would have came out on the court and just sat down?
See, and I promise you, I've been saying that. I said that then. I said again. And it's documented, recorded on my podcast. I said, I get it. I said the same thing. I get it. But man, if they wouldn't have stayed, if they wouldn't have played, you know what that would have done?
And that's the thing, man, is that, right now we're at a situation of we have to make as a community. And that's one of the things that when I'm looking at this Last Dance thing, the whole thing is that Michael Jordan had an opportunity to galvanize the planet with this documentary, really, where, you had a chance to be able to bring corporate America down to, the classes that really need help. And as opposed to it just being a thing where it seems to be that you've taken a position of you're better than your teammates, and that you were able to separate yourself from your teammates in such a manner that it sheds negative light upon them, as opposed to you saying that they were valuable to enhancing and the ascension of your career and the number of shots that you got to put up because they gave you the ball, as opposed to saying, man, I want to get paid just like you do, so why should I give you the ball 40 times and I'm only getting it 5? So, those are the types of things that, to me, when I look at what he said about Scotty, what he said about the cocaine circus, what he said about Horace, and the fact that I didn't even get interviewed for it, not that I'm salty about it, but just the fact that, Ken Burns, who's one of the foremost documentarians in the world. They asked him to do the program, and he said Michael had too much control. And how can you tell a true story by having access to what's going to be said, and this isn't going in or that is going in? That's not cool.
Mm.